Live now, Tom. How much
Yogurt,
damage has this
protein
fire
yogurt.
caused?
Alicia, good evening. Unfortunately,
There
it's
you go.
part of this site that produces what Victorians need most right now that's been hit the hardest, and that is the area responsible for making unleaded petrol. Equipment failure, we're being told, is what's to blame at this stage, and production, which was only recently ramped up, has now been cut. Ollie Haig begins our coverage.
In the middle of a fuel crisis, a sight no one wants to see. Explosions ringing out as one of the country's 2 oil refineries goes up in flames.
And all of a sudden I hear like a big thud. The whole house kind of shook.
Corio local Hashin Mendez lives across the road and couldn't believe what he was seeing.
I think at that point the main concern was, well, we have to evacuate.
Few people expected what would follow.
You come around the corner and you can just see the gas being burnt off at the top part. The noise, it's just like a big...
The bloke, he said he's lived in Geelong probably 50 years down in Nolene, and this is the first time he's seen something like this.
Around 50 workers were inside the refinery at 11 p.m. when a gas leak was detected.
There's been a significant leak of liquid hydrocarbons and gases that have fueled the fire.
Appears to be a mechanical engineering failure in some of the equipment.
Moments later, the site erupted into a fireball.
For some workers that were pretty close to the action and had to run from it.
It happened in a section of the refinery that makes an ingredient for petrol. 2 of those units sustaining significant damage. And while fire crews managed to limit the spread, they faced extraordinary difficulty, taking 13 hours to bring it under control. Fortunately though, everyone got out safely.
The firefight's mainly been combated with fixed monitors, so they're electronically, remotely controlled water monitors.
But the damage stretches far beyond the refinery walls. This facility supplies half of Victoria's fuel and 10% of the nation's. In the middle of a global oil crunch, the timing couldn't be worse.
There will be an impact on production.
Clearly there will be an impact on our fuel supply. And this makes the job of this government even more important, to get more shipments of fuel coming to this country.
The Energy Minister defending the operator.
It works safely 99.99% of the time on this occasion. Bad timing, but didn't work safely on this occasion.
While Viva Energy denied ageing infrastructure is to blame.
Most of the equipment in the site has been refreshed and replaced over those 70 years.
Despite the fire, the plant has been able to continue operating, albeit at reduced capacity. The question now is for how long and what impact there will be at the pump.
We'll only start increasing production again once we're confident that we can do that safely.
While the damage is now being assessed, assurances from one of the country's biggest fuel suppliers not to panic.
We've got substantial stocks of petrol. We do import petrol into the country.
Viva is confident that they will be able to replace the impacted petrol production with imports.
And Ollie joins me live now from Corio, where a community meeting is being held to address any ongoing dangers for locals. Ollie, what's the mood like there this evening?
Well, Tom, there's a lot of concern. There is dozens of residents down here in Corio tonight at this local hall. The car park is full. Many residents have lived in this community for decades, and this is the biggest fire they've ever seen at the local refinery. So they want to know exactly how this has happened and what the next steps are. Now, it is worth noting that emergency services remain on scene tonight. They're yet to hand the site back to Viva Energy. They won't do that until it is safe to do so. As for the impact that this fire could have on all Victorians and the availability of fuel, well, the Premier, Jacinta Allen, was asked about that today. She says she's keeping abreast of the situation, but stopped short of extending the free public transport scheme that is due to end later this month. Tom?
All right, Ollie Haig there, thank you. Well, Geelong's refinery have been working overtime to keep up with this increased demand. So in the wake of the inferno, it's already painfully clear that fuel supplies will be impacted. The big question for now, how long, and will fuel restrictions be needed? Finance Secretary Chris Kohler explains.
So here are the facts. The Geelong refinery usually handles 120,000 barrels of crude oil a day, turning it into petrol, diesel and aviation fuel. That's 10% of Australia's fuel supply and 50% of Victoria's. And the early estimate is that this fire will take that output down to a trickle for between 3 weeks and 3 months. Now here are the problems. more replacement fuel will now need to be bought on the international market, which is already tight as a drum. The fuel will be expensive, the nations sending it are under pressure to keep it, and because fuel tankers move slowly, it will take weeks or even months to arrive. Some analysts today said this will mean stage 3 fuel restrictions. That's federal government rationing.
This oil crisis is the doomsday scenario for oil that has been war games since the 1970s.
And here's the bigger picture. Consumer and business confidence have already collapsed, and the market is predicting another interest rate rise in 3 weeks. This fire is as much about the facts as it is about how Australians react to what is yet another devastating hit.
The Prime Minister has secured an extra 100 million litres of diesel from Brunei and South Korea as he continues to meet Asian counterparts. Anthony Albanese pledging food to Malaysia in return for fuel, as new unemployment figures show the economy remains resilient now. Here's Charles Croucher.
A march in April that may bring fuel by June. The precision and order of Malaysian troops a long way from the chaos of the world.
To meet this challenge, Australia is working in cooperation with our close friends.
The latest agreement in an uphill climb, this time using our food and farming to guarantee fuel.
And our neighbours know that providing fuel and fertiliser to Australia helps put food on the table in this region.
We will be mates. I don't know why you use that term. Through thick and thin.
Is this just a photo opportunity? Is this just producing joint statements, or is it going to deliver fuel?
The pressure on in the economy, but new figures from the ABS show unemployment steady at 4.3% seasonally adjusted. The number of part-time jobs falling by 34,600, replaced by full-time positions up 52,500.
Our labour market and our economy is going into this time of global uncertainty from a position of strength.
Those numbers will slightly increase the chance of a rate rise when the Reserve Bank meets early next month.
Our expectation at this point is maybe one more cash rate increase. And then hopefully we'll be looking forward into next calendar year. We would expect some cash rate reductions.
On Wall Street, the S&P 500 closed higher than ever before. As oil prices fell below $100 a barrel, our market's down slightly but seemingly optimistic of peace soon, while in Adelaide, the CEO of Santos, one of our largest energy companies, looks to the upside.
Australia's role as a stable, reliable energy powerhouse has never been more important.
Tonight, the first 2 shipments of fuel underwritten by Australian taxpayer dollars are on their way to Australia, carrying a combined 100 million litres of diesel.
This is a good development and the first of many, I expect.
Fuel now coming, but coming at a cost. Charles Croucher, 9 News.
An inferno at an oil refinery disaster at the best of times, let alone whilst we're in the midst of a terrible fuel crisis right around the world. And look, the federal government has said now that the blaze is out here, it's business as usual. But talking to the union tonight, they tell us that a number of workers from this site have been told don't bother coming to work until next week at the earliest. So clearly troubled waters ahead. Alicia, I'll be back a little later on to look at what next now for workers and the wider community here in Corio.
All right, Tom, we look forward to that. We'll come back to you a bit later on in the bulletin. Tom Sniper there in Corio.